Welcome to Cranfield University. It's great to have you with us. My name is Toby Thompson. I'm the studio director here in the glorious Grenville Turner Studios. That image you saw a while ago that's over my shoulder is a live shot of Cranfield University, and we have a little bit of sun. So if you're in the UK, you might be enjoying some of this very same sun. Please let us know where you are. If you're joining the live session, let us know where you are in the world. Put it into the text chat. And if you're watching the recording, you missed an amazing live session. So maybe get in touch with us afterwards, because we're very keen to get in touch with you. If data analytics is your thing, you are in the right place. We're going to be talking about the Business Data Analytics course here at Cranfield University. If you're interested in that, please stick around. This is going to be an interactive session, so we want your questions, your comments, your challenges, your observations, pretty much at any time that we're together. We're going to be together for no more than 1 hour, and if we have no questions, then it's going to be shorter. And the reason you've got questions is we have the course director with us in the studio and 2 amazing students. They're going to be smiling when I hear the word amazing. So get ready with some of those questions. We know that you have a choice to study this topic pretty much anywhere. And we know also that you've done your homework on Cranfield. But before we talk to the course director and the students, let's remind ourselves what an amazing place Cranfield University is. Gets me fired up every time I see that. The music alone gets me going. It's not often you hear a choral piece to a university. So again, thank you for joining us. Get ready with those questions. And again, if you're watching the recording, it's great to have you with us. We are very keen to carry on the conversation, so you are not alone. Joining me in the studio, Professor Andy Angus. Sorry, Andrew Angus. What do you prefer?
Andy, yeah.
I've known Andy for quite a while. So it's great to have you with us. And joining us also in the adjacent studio that we have here in the Grenville Turner suite is, as you can see there, Denny. Give us a wave, Denny, just to prove that you're real. Are you real or you're an AI generated?
It's my
Denny's
real
not,
name.
You are real. Denny's not waving, but yeah, Denny's real. You can see that smile there. And Christiana on the right. It's great to have you with us both.
Thank
And
you.
you can see a little bit of sun there. So we're gonna, Denny and Christiana, please stick around, because hopefully there'll be a ton of questions coming your way. And we're going to be talking to Denny and Christiana about what it's like on the course, because they're both current students on the Business Data Analytics course, which we want to hear more about. Andy, from you. Let's kick off, first of all, at least, and get those text questions ready. Say a bit more about yourself.
Sure.
What background are you coming from? Are you an analyst? Tell us more.
Sure. I'm actually a Cranfield graduate. So I started my career doing an undergraduate degree here at Cranfield when we did undergraduate degrees, and then I moved to do my PhD at the University of Cambridge, and then came back to Cranfield to work because I felt really connected to Cranfield.
You graduated in 1996.
Yeah, 2000.
Oh, really?
I started in 96.
No, you started in, that seems like a long time ago.
Yeah, and essentially I'm a practitioner. So I'm an economist, and I use data every day to make predictions about global trends, market trends, the way consumers may react to new products, pricing mechanisms. And behind all of that is always data analytics. So I think for many people who have been using data analytics over the year, they've always used it, but it's emerged more recently as a discipline in itself. So I very much come from the practitioner sense of data analytics, where I use it every day. And so through my experience, I think why I love it so much is it tells us so much about the world, gives us a deeper understanding of what we know, but also I think what we don't know. It's also good at identifying the things that we need to know more about. And I particularly enjoy working with clients, because I think one of the things that I think will separate your experience at Cranfield from others is the focus on real life applications. I really enjoy, I mean, data science is messy at times. The client you have to scope out the project, work what you want. Perhaps the data isn't quite right for the objective.
It's funny you say that because you think of data as quite scientific and quite precise, but you're saying no.
I think there's limitations to what data you can collect. There's regulations about that. There's limitations in terms of what data have been collected that you've got to work with. Can you trust it? Even some of the data that looks quite trustworthy, you might find the base survey wasn't quite delivered in the right way. So data science can be a really, it's much more than just crunching numbers. There's more to it, and that really excites me.
It interests me too, and I guess the point here is don't trust anything you see or hear. Do the analysis on what it is that you see or hear.
Absolutely.
You self-identify as an economist. I heard you mention economist. Natural resource economics is your chair, is that right?
Yeah.
Say more about that.
So I suppose my background is I've always had an interest in natural resource markets, and that also includes energy. So wind energy, solar, fossil fuel. So I've always had an interest in the way in which those markets moved, and my academic interests and papers have been around models making predictions on those markets, but also their environmental impacts. So how do you produce everything we need but minimize the environmental impacts?
So sustainability is of tremendous interest by the sound of it to you.
Yeah, and I think it is everywhere. Right. I think from my experience interacting with industry, it's now part of their goals. So even industries that are heavily reliant on things like logistics, transport, are looking at alternative fuels, electric vehicles. With net zero coming, all organizations have to think about how they become more sustainable. What are the strategies now that keep them compliant, but also competitively, give them a competitive advantage in the coming years? So it's absolutely critical.
Who do you think, and this is your chance to talk to the audience, who do you think are on this call or watching the recording? Are they already data analysts, or there's some people who have an interest in it or know that it's coming?
I'm hoping it's a wide variety of people. I think the thing that really, I think everyone's a data analyst. I think when you think about, where I'm going to buy something today, we were talking about Amazon and eBay earlier. You look at Amazon, for instance, you look at the product ratings, the qualitative
the reviews,
judgments, and you put those quantitative and qualitative together
every time
to make the decision.
Yeah.
So I think we're all data analysts, and I think what I'm hoping is we've got people from different perspectives. Philosophy would be great. Some data analysts who love programming, some people who've done economics, but anyone who finds that, and I think with so much data in the world, I think the era of gut instinct is over. It's now about carefully analyzing data to make decisions. And so anyone who has that interest in just what we've said there, can I trust that data? Does it say what we think it does? I think if we collect these data, we might find this, and that would be an interesting finding for the CEO. So I think really hopeful that people on the call are really excited by the idea of creating data sets and analyzing data sets to communicate meaning.
Wow.
And I think you could come from any background.
So we're not looking at mathematicians, statisticians, engineers, anybody, literally anybody.
I think it's helpful if you've had some experience of numbers. Maybe in your undergraduate thesis you used quantitative methods. So it's helpful to have an experience of that. But we're certainly not looking to narrow it down to people who have done coding before. We will teach the basics of that.
If you're watching this on the recording and that description applies to you, we are extraordinarily interested in hearing about or from you. The next intake would be, is it a once a year thing or is it twice a year?
Yeah, so once a year. So the course would begin late September. So we'd have an orientation week where everyone arrives in September. We have a week to settle in, and then the course starts proper on the first week of October and runs straight through to the following September.
Right. So the course that's running right now, we have Denny and Christiana, as you saw earlier on, joining us to tell you about that. This has run for the first time.
Yep.
Why now?
I think what we've, again, I think data analytics is it's like sustainability. It's through all disciplines. And so data analytics has been a part of nearly all courses at Cranfield.
Forever.
And but now it's emerged as such a science and a practice, and we're seeing such growth in terms of employment opportunities, demand, companies coming to us to say, we see AI, for instance, we know what it does, we think, how do we use it? What's the best way to use it? And we're seeing such demand for questions like that, that it makes sense then for us to bring together all of our expertise into this course. So it's really been market-led, demand from industry. And so it's the right time to release this onto the market.
I know people can find this out from the website and go to the website for more information on the course. You know that already, but give us an overview roughly of the course. Is it 9 to 5 lectures? Is it practicals? What's it look like?
So generally, the way the timetables work this year is we've got 3 days. So you'd be in 3 days doing 4 hours of lectures in each of those days.
Right.
And that'd be a 2-hour lecture just before lunch and a 2-hour lecture afterwards. And around that, you have the time for, I'm meeting the students later today, so there might be a bit of work that goes on after, in terms of students go away and do a bit of preparation that night for the next day. And there might be a presentation to do. So while there's 4 hours, 3 days a week, the rest of the time might be used for preparation and certainly for assignments. So that would be a typical week. So week after week, 3 days in and 4 hours of lectures each.
You mentioned assignments there. Are there exams?
No, there's no exams.
No exams?
Yeah.
Wow.
But with our assignments, we try and make them as practical as possible. So as an exam is not something you'd probably have to deal with in your work life. Yeah.
So you're leaving us here in the studio to talk or to lecture on business analytics for managers later on today. What's your style, or what's the style generally? Have you got a ton of PowerPoints, or are you looking to deal with actual data? Say more about the method.
So I think it's a mix, and I think that module particularly will be this sort of statistics. So many things analysts have to do is put in place or design experiments to prove things or identify market trends. So it would be statistics. So part of it will be, here's the theory, because that has to be done. But where possible, we like to work with real data, and I think that's really important because real data is messier than the textbooks will give you. You know, if you want to run the model perfectly, this is how you do it, but real life isn't like that. So we like to use real life examples. We'll have sessions in computer rooms, and yesterday the students had a session in the lecture room on their laptops with the R statistics language.
Wow.
So we try and keep it practical and applied to real life where possible. And I think I've been at Cranfield now for nearly 20 years. Nearly 20 years. And the thing I think most of us love about Cranfield is the nature of the classroom. It's quite a discussions encouraged. Putting your hand up's encouraged, helping each other is encouraged.
And disagreeing, presumably, to get a conversation going.
Yeah, so I think even when it is a PowerPoint-led session, there is space for questions, discussions. So I think PowerPoint is only ever the stimulus for the class. It's not necessarily the heads down, just listen to me. That's not what we do at Cranfield.
You mentioned 3 days, so the other 2 days are self-study?
Yes, the self-study. I think there'll be, I mean, at the moment, I think the students, well, this afternoon, we'll have 3 assignments going at the moment. So there is a lot of work to be doing. There's a lot of preparation to do for some of the modules. So those 3 other days are very much around assignments, which are linked to what we've taught. So it is self-led. Yeah.
Right.
And again, that's being a master's student, isn't it? It's being in control of your own learning, and you get out what you put in. So those 3 days are there for self-learning.
No, I know what your answer to this next question will be, but I'm assuming you're interested in people who are joining this session who are curious and who want to find out more. I'm assuming that.
Yeah. I think an MSc is investment in yourself.
Yes.
I think, and you want to go to a place where you can explore what you're curious about. You can become. You have freedom to invest in the skills you want to develop. So yeah, I think being curious is really, and again, it's that sort of, when you're curious, you're more interested, more likely to ask questions, lead your own learning. So yeah, it's critical.
Speaking of curiosity, I'm curious, Denny, to hear more from Denny and from Christiana. Denny, let's come to you first. Can you just introduce yourself? What background have you come from?
Yeah, totally. Hi guys, my name is Danny. I'm 30 years old. I'm from Brazil. I know I'm look like an Asia guy, but I'm from Brazil. And I have more than 5 years, my background working different companies, different industries. So I have experience working in a bank, paper, fossil fuel, sugar. So I decided to come here to Cranfield to invest in my education, to have opportunity to open my mind from different cultures, different mindsets, different skills. So that's why I'm here.
Wow. And those industries that you mentioned there, those sectors,
Yes.
are you a data analyst in each of those?
Yes, I have a experience working as data analytics and business intelligence in Brazil.
We've got to find out more about that, but that's really
Totally.
interesting. Stick around. Christiana, can I come to you next? Tell us a little bit about your background and why you've come to Cranfield.
My name is Christiana. Well, my background, I can say at the moment, I'm working with bank as a fraud analyst, and also I've worked with bank as well before I work as IT analyst as well. So, but at the moment I'm working as fraud analyst, and well, I'm here in Cranfield because I think presently what I'm doing as a fraud analyst is also have to do with data, where we have to analyze the data working with clients when something happens. So we have to analyze, okay, this is what happened. And also I've been seeing a lot of people, even where I'm working, that they are really, they're specific in data analysis. And sometimes I was like, oh, this is what I can do as well. Sometimes they'll say, of course, Christina, with what you are doing as well, we can see that you can do it. It's what I've been dreaming of. And when I search about the Cranfield, I learn a lot of things, that the class is interactive, dealing with like technology and management, and a lot of things I've learned. So I was like, oh, this will be the right place for me to really, explore and to develop my skill as business data analysis.
There's a question already, Christiana. This is Goraya, sorry. How challenging have you found it? How challenging can the course be if you only have 3 years of experience in the industry? You've had more years of experience. Do you think someone coming on the course with less experience will find it difficult?
Well, I would say somebody even coming with less experience or even no experience, because the class was designed for everybody, even though if you don't even have any experience. The way the class was designed, it's really, really helpful to make it interactive. Even if you don't have any experience, you can still do this business data analysis. And what with the little that we've done in the class is like they make it general, like everybody, even those that have the skills and those that doesn't have. So everybody come together. The class is like, okay, people come together, just bring your experience, bring what you know, and let's come together. Like in the class, we have group. So people that can do a lot of things like coding. So those that doesn't even have anything. So I believe, for me, I think it's okay even if you don't have the experience. Cranfield, and this course particularly was designed for everybody, that you can join, and at the end of the day you would think that yes, you can do it.
I think I could do it. From what you just said, I think I could do it.
Yes.
Andy, would you agree with Goraya's point about you don't need, and Christiana's point, you don't need tremendous amount of experience?
No.
Or
no,
any experience?
No. So I think what's important is diversity of experience.
Right.
That as course director, I'm trying to put together the dream team for next year, the course. And what I look for is a range. And I think, just as Christiana just said perfectly there, it's about actually someone who has lots of experience will struggle with going back to class and
Yes.
doing assignments.
Yes.
Someone straight from university will be very, very efficient at doing that. Will teach the more experienced person, this is how you do assignments, this is how I break it down. Whereas the more experienced person might be able to say, this is how it's done in business, let me help you with this bit of programming. So I think that mix of experience is a really important thing. So so it's not designed for those who are experienced, it's designed for all experience. And I think it's that diversity of where you come from in terms of your role, your experience, your geography that you've worked in. 'Cause data analysts are people, so to be successful, you need to understand how to work with people. And so being in a class that has a diverse range of people is really important, so as you learn how to work best with others. So I'm looking for a diversity, that's the key.
And Denny, I presume you'd agree with that point, but coding, we've mentioned coding several times now. People on the call might think, my goodness, I'm not a coder. Were you a coder beforehand? Tell us more about your experience with that.
Yeah, I used to use coding in my last work, but here I have opportunity to understand more for different programming. For example, yesterday we started to study R, so this is important in the future. I never haven't been in contact with this programming. I used to use Python, Power BI, Excel, VBA, but here I can have opportunity to engage in different programming, for example, machine learning, R. So that's really important for us.
So Denny, tell us more about that. In terms of support, you're using R for the first time.
Yeah, first time.
So you've got people here helping you with that? You've got the group helping you with that? The university? Say more about that support.
Yeah, totally. Professor Andy helped us to introduce one of the professors. So yesterday we received the first class, was really amazing because I never have contact with this program before, and they help understand, okay, this is the R, we can use R to do these things, we can receive different tips, different comprehension about this program. So it was really interesting because they help really in the beginning to understand, okay, how can you use this tool and why is it so important to use in the future? It was really useful for us.
Christiana, can you say more about that yourself? Have you got you said you were an IT analyst as well. Have you got a coding background?
Well, I've got a coding background, but yeah, like as Dennis said, so yesterday also was the first time, learning how, and also with Python, not really much, but actually mainly my coding background was like Java, HTML when we designed like web design, CSS3, and SQL. I use SQL as well. So, but at least with this course, it's really helping us to learn more about the coding. Yeah.
The classes sound fun, Andy, from what Denny and Christiana are saying.
Yeah.
If you don't know, others are going to help you. You're going to help.
Yeah, I think one thing that stands out to me about Cranfield, and I had this experience when I was an undergraduate, is the ratio of staff to students.
Yes,
we have relatively small classes, and I think what that enables is, yesterday I was in the session, and it enabled quite close interaction. For someone in a class of 300, it's difficult to be the one person that puts your hand up and says, the data set hasn't loaded for me, I don't know why. In a smaller class, it's much easier to say, can you help me? And actually the students know each other enough that they were helping each other. So I think that's really important. I would say, although coding is important, and it is, I think also understanding what the code is doing and what that code will be used for. And ultimately, I think at the end, we had another person in talking yesterday, a guest. Ultimately, you have to present what the data says. So the code, I think they said that 80% of the job is data crunching, but 20% is storytelling. This was what he said. And so actually understanding the code's doing a job, but actually what you need to give to the client is the story, and that's another skill, a really important skill. So coding's important, but also that other bit is really important too.
Denny, I'm keen to hear. Something tells me you're good at that 20%. Say more about that. You can do all that data crunching, but telling the story, is that good?
Yeah, it's very complicated to give this storytelling in English, I need to confess. I think in Portuguese is much better in my native language. But yeah, totally agree with Andy, because we learn here a lot of different tools, but basically you need to understand your purpose to why you are working in this area, why you are working these problems, because in the end you need to deliver a solution for your client. So that's very important to make your storytelling and understand your main goal to the
And
client.
Cristiana, are you more comfortable with deep diving into the data or with storytelling, or for you they come together?
Well, I think both are very important for me. Like I said, like what I'm doing now is like I can tell a story. I can tell the story. Like for example, if customer just say I need to understand this, and I should be able to analyze. So like, and at the moment, like what we are doing in the class are descriptive. So ability to describe what in a way that maybe like for somebody that doesn't even have experience, or for somebody that doesn't even understand. So ability to deliver in a way that the person or the client will quite understand. So I believe both is important, yeah, for me. You should be able to tell.
Thank you. We're going to come back to that point. Andy, say more about what's expected of someone joining this course. We're looking at individual thesis in conjunction with an external organization. Say more about that.
Yeah, so I think in terms of what a student would experience, there'd be 6 taught modules, and so it's a little different from the other courses we teach at Cranfield. So a typical course might have 8 to 10 modules. We only have 6, but those 6 modules are double the size of a normal module. And the reason we do that is, I don't think data analytics is the type of course that you can get someone in a class for 8 hours in a single day, run through the module and expect that to be now a skill. So what we do is we have quite long modules that overlap. And the idea there is that as one module builds skills and allows the student long enough to practice what they've learned, and that should then connect into the next module where they'll use the skills for a different purpose. So we'll have 6 of those, and then that will run roughly from October to May time the following year, and from May to September the student would do a thesis project, and that's a major piece of work where the student would really bring everything that they've learned on the 6 modules and put it into practice. What we aim to do with the thesis is that and we aim to do this with modules too, is to connect the assessment into a real company issue. So a real company that has a problem or an issue they want resolved, and so your thesis would be working to solve that problem.
Wow. And you get to pour over that company's real data?
Where,
or is it a subset of
in the
that?
thesis, we'd probably do that. There's sort of data protection issues. So for
Yes.
thesis, we do it. In modules, it'd probably be using more like public data
Right.
to pull out trends and messages. But it depends on the specific companies, and they vary through courses.
And the students get to choose the topic, or you give the students the topic?
So I think for thesis, it's flexible. So I think what we aim to do is support students to identify companies that they would like to do projects for, and we could see if we have links here at Cranfield that we could facilitate that. For others, it might be a company comes to me or other faculty that we've got this issue, you've got a good student, and we can present those projects for students to choose. I think this probably doesn't ring true for anyone in the court at the moment, but actually does become true. Is lots of students, by the time they get to the thesis, don't necessarily want to do anything for a company. They've got something they want to build. It may be actually some students want to go on and do a PhD, or they've got a specific skill they want to spend time developing. It's actually quite, so there's a few models. So, you know, we might have companies come to us, we can go to companies, or it might be something the student leads, or it might be something by the time you get there that you know a faculty member quite well and you've talked up an idea. Or another classic, I think, at Cranfield is 2 people come together with very different ideas and they talk and they go, wow, that's a business. And then so often we have that option as well. And entrepreneurship in data analytics, I think, is going to be a really hot field. So I think the thesis is a really exciting part of the course and can be done in several ways.
The opportunities you're painting the picture of there are quite astonishing. Denny, I want to come to you on some of that. Is it Dr. Denny? Will it be Dr. Denny? Or have you got an idea of what your project will be?
Not yet, actually, but probably I want to explore more about the field that I want to work. So I'm looking for different industry here in UK that I can explore more my thesis.
Wow. And Christiana, are you thinking already about your project, your thesis, or is that too far away?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm still looking into what would be the best, or maybe looking into some company, or as well, maybe where I'm working as well, just to get some. But at the moment, not really. Yeah.
It'll come. It'll
Yeah,
come.
I think we work on that sort of December. We start thinking about, okay, what do we need to put in place for the thesis? And
Right.
so at the moment, it is very much it's there, it's coming, it's thinking, but we won't really. Some students will have a firm idea. Others are ideas change as you
Yes,
as
of
you
course.
experience new
It
things.
sounds like you grow into that. It's not something that's
yeah.
plonked on in front of you and you do it.
Yeah.
You generate the ideas, the interest, the enthusiasm, and you
Yeah.
pursue it.
I mean, I've written 3 theses in my time, and each one of those, I had an idea when I joined, and then I learnt something that thought, no, that's what I'm interested
Yeah.
in, and so it changed as I experienced new things.
How does the course stay up to date? I know you've got a core module on AI and machine learning, but how do you stay up to date? It must be such a fast-moving field.
Well, you can ask the AI in the morning, your AI instrument or co-pilot or AI,
Yeah.
what happened overnight in the world of AI,
And it'll tell you.
and it'll tell you. So, but no, it's in all honesty, it's one of the things that worries me.
It worries you, really.
Is as course director, I think this is the one topic where you could go out of date
That's
in
interesting.
months. So it is a case of speaking to, I mean, this is, I think, why speaking and working with industry is so important, is you get to hear the concerns, the way the industry is moving, what's needed, what's going out of date. So very much we keep up to date by talking to industry. But I think this is the one subject where if you stand still, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah. Denny, can I come to you? Because you mentioned several industries there, and Guraya has another question. Guraya, you're on fire, so keep the questions coming. What kind of industry, Guraya is asking, is encouraged more for the thesis? I mean, Denny, you've been in several industries, several sectors.
Yes.
Is there a favorite sector? Is there a sector that you think is more important to have these skills and you should therefore concentrate on?
Yeah, and you know, I'm environment engineer, so I have a degree in environment engineer, but I used to work in different sectors in my life. So I used to work in a bank, in the technology sectors, fossil fuel. So here I'm looking opportunity to engage more about environment societies, about environment in general. So probably in the future, I want to focus more in this kind of area. I don't know sincerely if it's this correct way, but I just complete almost 2 months here at Cranfield. So we're facing different industries. We're facing, for example, airports, different types, as you can see here. So yeah, you have a lot of opportunity to engage here in UK, but probably I'm going to focus more on environment societies.
Wow, environment. And Christiana, can I ask you? You're already in work. I'm assuming you have a chosen industry. Where will you go into? What industry will you remain into after your time at Cranfield? Or will you change?
I'm still looking because of the course I'm doing at the moment. So my company, they are also proposing maybe moving into complex fraud, where you can be dealing with big data as well. But also, I'm still thinking after the course, I'll just go fully into full data analyst.
Wow. The question, Andy, for you, internships. Is there an internship built into the curricula? And does the school support students securing placements? This is from Abena.
Yeah, so no, the answer is we can accommodate internships. The structure of the course is that the thesis would work where we can with a company, but we can help support internships. It's not a formal part of the course, but we can support them.
Can I come back to you, Denny, and say more about practicalities, living on campus, living off campus? I understand, Denny, you're living on campus. Say more about why you chose that.
I decided to live on campus because I'm here with my partner. So she's studying MBA full time here. So we get more used to understand about campus. We get more time to do to enjoy different activities here. So living on campus, you can save a lot of time to go to your class, to meet your friends, you meet different professors, to engage in different societies, different clubs. So be here on campus, I think in the beginning could be the best opportunity to you to engage and explore around here. So that's why we choose to stay here on campus. Even in your situation, we save some money because everything is included in your rent. So if you question about, for example, water, internet, everything is included in your bills.
Well, and that's a family accommodation by the sound of it.
Yes.
Is that right?
It's a feeding house. We live in a feeding house for a couples, but you can find different options here. You can find baronies, you can find for families, you can find individuals accommodations. Yeah, you can find a lot of options to be here on campus and different price as well.
And where do you find yourself buying your food? I know there is a shop on campus. Do you find that, or you have to have a car to go to local supermarket?
You can find different options to go to different city here. So we are living in Cranfield, but next year here you can find Milton Keynes or Bedford, and you can go there by bus, and you can contract, for example, car to go to this place. But most of the time we use bus to go to supermarkets, go to shopping. So it's easy to go. We have a discount to use this kind of bus because we are students. So that's worked a lot for us.
And Christiana, tell us about your situation in terms of accommodation. You living on or off campus?
I'm living off campus. I'm living with my family. I have 3 kids, so I'm living with my family off campus. So yeah, but for me it's okay because I just 15 minutes drive, yeah, to the campus. I'm here, so it's okay for me. Yeah.
I'm curious. I've got to ask, how do you fit in studies and a family life? That sounds really hard.
Well, I believe in life, sometimes it's just a sacrifice that one just, to achieve your goals. I think there's some sacrifice you just have to make. And this is what really helped me. It helped me a lot, even in my personal life, because I can see even with studying of my degree, I think I finished my study, the initial study, my ND in Nigeria, and that was 2006. So when I moved to Europe, I was like, okay, after years, I was like, oh, I need to, because I believe that when you want to achieve something, you just have to give all it takes to do that. So I think after some year, like 10, 11 years, I was like, no, I still need to do my degree. So I went, so doing that. And a lot of people were like, how are you doing it with family, with this? I was like, yeah, though it's not easy, but it's a sacrifice that to achieve your goal, you must pay the price. So, and that really, really, really helped me. Somebody was, I was like, I can give an example if you permit me as well.
Yes, please.
Okay, like when I was doing my degree, so maybe towards the end of I think in the middle of the program, so I got pregnant for my last born, and people were like, oh, it's going to be difficult. I said, yes, it is, but I'm still going to do it. So, and unfortunately, the day I gave birth to my daughter, I have to submit assignment. I was like, oh, this assignment, you just have to wait. So I submitted my assignment 3 o'clock in the midnight. Whoa. And I gave birth like 4:15. So people are like, no, how are you doing it? So
how are you doing this?
Yeah. So I was like, so that's why I said sometimes in life, there's something that you just have to give in to achieve your goal. There's some sacrifice you just have to make. And this really, after I finished the degree, I just have to wait a little to work. And later I was like, no, I still have to do my master's. And because of what I'm doing, where I'm working at the moment, it's really give me like, oh, I have to do it. A lot of people like, even at my place of work, you don't talk, but when you are with clients, it's like you don't want to. Most of my feedback from my manager, they'll be like, Christina, you talk too much. So it got a time that I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk much. Then another feedback was like, dead air. my manager will put dead. I say, but you said I'm talking too much. Now dead air that you don't even talk when you're with customer. And so I was like, so it's really, really helped me. And with this business data analysis, it's like, it's something that you have to relate with customer. You have to analyze, you just get them to know. So it's like a relationship. So it's, in every way, it's really, really helped me. So, yeah.
Christiana, you are an inspiration. You're an absolute inspiration. It's amazing to hear that story. I don't know how you could do that. Let's change topic slightly on funding. People have got to pay money to Cranfield to come here. Tell us about funding options. Scholarships, have we got scholarships there?
So on our website, there's a list of scholarships that are available. We also have merit-based bursaries where when you apply, we assess your application, and if you meet certain criteria, we give you some bursaries which reduce the fee you pay.
And we've got a slide up here, so merit-based. And you've seen the scrolling text, so please get in touch if you want to know more about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to Denny, if I can, to talk about funding. Denny, are you self-funded? Did you get a scholarship? Tell us more about the funding options that you chose.
Yeah, I received a scholarship, regional scholarship from for South America in general. So I have these opportunities to engage here. So that's really helpful me. This really helped me to be here, because as you know, Brazil is very different compared to UK. We suffer a lot with the currency. So it was really important to receive this scholarship to be here. And
Danny,
I know
thank you.
we have a lot of different options to students to engage here.
And thank you, Tammy, for putting a link. So follow the link that you see in the text chat. Hopefully, if you're watching the recording, you've got access to that too. Please follow up on that. Denny, from what Christiana said, we've got to come back to you. Are you up in I won't ask you whether you're up at night studying, but what was it like coming back to study after maybe a delay?
I'm really engaged. I always engage in different societies, in different studies. So after my college, I still studying because, as you know, I'm using different tools for different programming tools. So, for example, Python, Power BI. So always being in contact with different studies. So coming here to invest my time and my money to be on Cranfield is not something very strange for me. So I just continue to study in different places, different conditions, but always be in contact with studies in general.
And Andy, I'm sure you'll carry on with what Denny was saying there. There is plenty of support. If you're new to studies or you haven't been in the classroom for quite a while, there's help.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you could probably see on from the two examples there, from Denny and Christiana, I think that's the other thing about a class is, and in business, isn't it, that actually the person you see in the day has pressures around times and what they have. And so you get to work together. And I think the biggest support students have is each other.
Yes.
Someone who has just come straight out of the degree and knows and has the knack of submitting assignments, getting it right, understands the academic technology, but someone with business experience who's a bit more, okay, let's stop, slow that down, let's break that concept up. So I think self-support, class support, and also at Cranfield we have a range of university services designed to help. We're a postgraduate only university, so all those services have really grown up around postgraduate students and their needs. So I think we've got a great range of services.
And careers as well, tremendous careers department that helps you find that dream job.
Yeah, and I think helps the word there. I think with any career, it's the people who've been really successful at that have used that as a service to give them the tools to find the job rather than turning up saying, where's that job? So I think that work of getting a job starts on day one when you arrive, building your CV and your network, and the career service can help you do that.
Practical question, what should people be doing now? Because clearly, if you're interested, and we hope you are, deadlines, applications, and frankly, what does a good applicant look like?
So I think in terms of the practicalities, the sooner the better. Denny outlined that if you want to be on, the benefits of being on campus, if you want to be on campus, getting your place early and getting your accommodation booked sort of secures your place on campus. we don't really have any deadlines other than the time it would take for students to get their visa in place to turn up on time. So I think usually June is probably the last time that applications would be able then to go off and get visas, but that would depend on the country of origin. In terms of what a good application looks like, I think it's the CV. So, you know, your academic background, your work background if you have it, but also I read every motivation letter, and what I'm looking for there is why this course? What is it that really interests you about the course you've chosen? How does it match into what you want to do? I mean, that's important. Can Cranfield help you achieve what you want to do? That's really important to us. So having quite a clear statement about this is what interests me, this is why, and this is what I'm going to use it for is what I am really interested in.
Even if people don't know where they're going to go eventually, state some of those.
Absolutely. And it might even be not necessarily I'm going to work for this company doing this job. It might be I want to have a business in data analytics. I don't know what it'll look like, but these are the things that interest me, and this is where it might go. So just something that gives us an idea of what the end goal might look like in broad terms.
That's quite an ambition. Denny, I'm going to come to you on that point. You clearly have an ambition. You kind of know what you want to do. Put yourself back into the shoes maybe a year ago when you were thinking of coming to Cranfield. What advice would you give the people watching here today who are thinking of coming to Cranfield to study business data analytics?
Yeah, totally. And maybe apply as soon as possible, because you can receive a lot of discounts or scholarships. You can maybe have an opportunity to receive this kind of scholarships. Search a lot about Cranfields, trying to make conversation with different students. So for example, if you are interested to do data analytics course here in Cranfield, you can look for me, you can talk with me, talk with Christiana, talk with Andrew. So you can looking for, if you are in trouble, for example, to understand about accommodation, about career, you can have a lot of teams to support you to understand how it's working from here. So that's some of advices I can give you right now.
Brilliant. And we just saw a flash up on the screen a minute ago. Open day this weekend, 16th of November. Please get yourself onto campus if you're at all local and are curious about it. Christiana, what advice would you give yourself? I guess come to Cranfield, right?
Well, you mean advice I will give myself or?
Well, okay, yourself a year ago when you were thinking of coming here, where the audience is thinking, you know what, I'm not so sure. What advice would you give?
All right, yeah. I believe, like in my situation, so before I come into Cranfield, I've done a lot of research to know what the school is all about. So you can, and also I have like personal interaction with somebody that finished also from Cranfield. So I think she did artificial intelligence. So she told me a lot about it. I was like, oh, yeah, it sounds great. So I believe for somebody still planning, oh, where should I go? Can I try Cranfield? So what I would advise is if you can just visit the website, you get a lot of information, everything that you need to know. And also if you have the opportunity, as this weekend, there is an event as well. So if you have the opportunity, you can just come and you meet with people. And also this also really helped me, because I think I came for one event. Also, I met somebody that finished maybe like 2 years ago, but she came for the event. As we were just talking, she was just sharing like, oh, I was like, wow, networking, it also helped. So at least you will get a lot of things. So I believe if you want to do it, yes, you can do it.
That's the message I got from you, very loud and clear. If you want to do it, you just do it.
Okay.
Again, you make it sound really easy, but it's just wonderful to hear your story. We've got a few minutes left. If you have any opening questions, or sorry, even closing questions, feel free to put them through. We want to carry on the conversation, so do get in touch with Cranfield if you haven't been able to put your question in here, or you're watching the recording. Last comments, Andy. I guess you'd say also, from Christiana's point, get yourself here.
Yeah, I think Denny and Christiana summed it up really
They're
well. I
amazing.
think this is an investment in yourself. It's a lot of money. You need to make it work, and so the due diligence is really important, which is website. Does the course look right? I think the really important thing, and I'd encourage everyone to do, is try and reach out to people who maybe on LinkedIn who have been at Cranfield, maybe in your own network, to ask them about Cranfield, what life is like there, what the teaching quality is like. I think that bit is really important, sort of hearing, not just, and so I am available for one-to-ones with students if you want to talk, but I think what's really important is to hear a student's perspective, because it's been decades since I've been in the student accommodation here, and so I'm a little, I can't, haven't
find
looked
out
as a
from people that
student.
know. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing you can do.
and you would be the person that you'd look at every applicant,
Yeah.
so they would meet you anyway.
Yeah, so I would see the application and sort of would be the one to recommend to our admissions board to admit.
So they can
But
get in contact with
They
you.
can get in contact with me
All
and
right.
book a one-to-one, yeah. And it would be with me rather than anyone else. So
Brilliant. You know where to go.
Mm.
You found out pretty much everything that you can.
yeah, it's on the website. You can book a one-to-one with me on the website.
There's something that you need to be doing now. Again, if you're in the live, great to have you with us. If you're in the recording, I'm glad you got this far. Congratulations. We expect to see you, or we'd like to see you on Cranfield campus. We have run out of time. Denny, thank you so much for taking
Thank you.
time out of your busy days. Christiana, likewise. I think you've got a lecture coming up with Andy.
Yeah, we've got to run across campus now, haven't we?
So we're finishing early for that reason. Thank you again for joining us. And Andy, thank you. It's been a joy.
Okay.
It's always a
Yeah,
joy working
as
with
always.
you.
Thanks.
Studio production today was by Marco Gomez and Robin Hackett. The producer was Tammy Argent-Peters. My name is Toby Thompson. Thank you for watching.